October 28, 1971, a beacon in the north was established by the then Minister of Education, Sir Lloyd Erskine Sandford. Formerly known as the St. Lucie Secondary School, the school was renamed in honor of its first principal, Daryll Jordan, and is now known as the Daryll Jordan Secondary School. For many of this school's alumni, musical passion is consistently blooming, as it lives up to the school's motto, every talent to the greatest use. On today's episode, we highlight all the amazing talents of the students that are a part of the Steel Orchestra band. And we also highlight the people that pioneer the talents of these wonderful students.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, cool.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brandon Blackman, and I'm joined here by Ryan Blackman, one of the teachers of the Daryll Jordan Secondary School, and he also tutors the Steel Orchestra band. So, Ryan, give us a bit of history on the band.
Well, the band is, or we can boast of having the first steel orchestra in the island. In the early 80s, this was under the tutelage of Mr. Mervyn McLean, past Spanish teacher and musician, steel band tutor. When I was growing up, the orchestra itself was a hallmark in terms of entertainment. So to come here in 2004, I was saying, geez, I come from Cornwall, which is another music school. I hope that things working here. It was a little on the low at the time. It was just an activity, and they were just doing minor performances. I'm not a steel band player, so I was introduced to it by some students. Man, sir, come and hear this thing. I said, all right, cool. When the man here playing, they got me in the room, and I was like, okay, bands, new for me. Yeah. But when they started to play, right, it was amazing what they got out of the instrument. Yeah. So it sparked my interest a bit. So I dived into finding out everything I can about the orchestra.
Pam, 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 pam. Get the rhythm right. You ain't gonna be perfect, even if you have a la 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 la. Brand, I don't mind. La da 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 da. You gotta clap when you're singing. 2, 3, come on. 4. Ba la 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 la. So give me what you owe me.
1, 2.
Bum 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 bum.
1, 2.
In the early 80s, when the orchestra was formed, after developing and training, the orchestra was privileged to perform at the Kentucky Derby, and they were also privileged performing in Germany as part of the tourism exchange. And I thought that was awesome. I said, how do we get back here? Yeah. Out of that, you would get persons like David Ziggy Walcott, who is pan man extraordinaire, runs the Mosaic Orchestra, and there are many members from that who went on to work on cruise ships, etc. So my goal was, hey, let's get it back to that point. Those same very students, I formed my first band, for lack of a better word, because I was now learning as well. So I got some slight training from them and Mr. McLean, and we went down the road forming ensembles to try to do two things. First goal was to get the music for the band back up to the level that I knew it as, and part two was to expose Barbados to a different side of the then St. Lucie School, which became Daryll Jordan Secondary School. Publicity, negative publicity was a big thing for us, and I found it disheartening when I could see the amount of talent that is here. We have a school motto which states, every talent the greatest use, and it's something that I learned to respect a lot coming into this environment, and realizing that each person has a voice and they have the ability to express themselves, so let's give them those opportunities. I do mine through music.
There's something that you have to develop here. I know it's not something that's in you right now, but eventually you have to know something called timing. Now, exchange this for a minute, Amari. So we can try it slow first. All right? Play that line for me there, so Ashley, please. Yeah. Right. So check it out. We're going to the time that I count. So remember, right? The drummer or the conductor is the timepiece at this point. The conductor starts the time, but the drummer keeps the time, the whole rhythm section. So you're going to be able to play in time. That's where you rehearse the things in time. So we can play at this speed. Just play a soca at this speed. Soca, that's a little too fast. All right, we'll try that. 1, 2, yeah, you see how fast it's going to move now? So 1, 2, 2, and bam, 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 bam. 1, 2, same time. Bam, 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 bam. 1, 2, 3, and 1 and 2 and 1, 2. Pause.
The discipline of learning music requires understanding the instrument, drill and practice, learning to interact with each other, learning to work as a team. So you push those things. Also, I have a military background too, so I add that to it and try to incorporate both disciplines, the military side, the music side, and last but not least, the academic side, because everybody is not an academic, but they're basic things that we should all have a idea of.
And that incorporated to one another.
Because the musicians is a holistic thing, is a total thing playing music for me. That's been my experience. Where you play music, yes, but then there's the business side of it. You gotta be able to promote yourself, count your money, put your finances and thing in order.
Of course.
So those things, the discipline that we apply to music, I try to reverse engineer that to apply it to the academics. It doesn't always work, but something about it does rub off.
And it helps and it brings a more
change the
successful
attitude too.
Yes.
Left hand. And it's this. So 1 and 1, 2. But if you start here with this hand and back there with that hand, what you would recommend for him using it right? Because you should be in the middle of the pan playing. Left hand first. No, pam, pam. Good, that's better. Again, 1, 2, 2, begin. Bam, 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 bam. Now you're gonna move. 1 and 2 and 1, 2. 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 1. So you see when you say is the way you play. Your hands gonna move like that. So 1 and 2 and 1. Better. Go again. All right, and this is where you get by is 1. When you learn to roll, no, you will do this. That's the difference. All right, good.
Movement that you have here really helps bring the students together. But what does it do for their confidence?
Wow. As a musician, confidence can be built through the discipline of playing two ways. The act of going through the process slowly and trying to understand it, and then the affirmation of getting it. And then not just getting it, but getting it with the group. As a young person, I think that is what they're trying to get. We're trying to fit in here and trying to make sure that my part does its part in the band, which is what we're trying to teach. See, there's so many different pieces in the orchestra. So when you can get a child to get their part done to fit in with the team, the affirmation is good. Because we have to push teamwork and positivity all the time. Because there are some you will find, when we first started, some of these boys in the back here, some of the bad boys in the school that put in here. So they may be like, you can't do work, you can't do better than you. Which is cool. Yes, it is good. But it's healthy. Yeah, you got to be healthy competition. So this is what you would call drill and practice. We're trying to get the thing over and over. So when we finish now, we will ask each person how their part fits into it. So it's not just drill and practice anymore. It's actually a wholesome situation where your part fits into the wider picture. So to me, that is what, in terms of confidence, where you can stand on your own and do your part for the better good of everybody else. Which is basically the concept of teamwork. You work
It works in the real world. Exactly. Yes. That's how it works in the real world. So do you think that, so are there a lot of students that, is it competitive to get into the Steel Orchestra band?
Nowadays it is, because this orchestra that would have left school last year would have done Spirit of the Nation and won on behalf of St. Lucie. Would have performed at Pampanisan on the main stage twice. Would have performed with Neil Massey's, the Mosaic Ensemble. They're also part of these schools, new schools called by Steel Orchestra. So we had an orchestra that was functioning. The whole point was to get them into the music, and for some of them, a lot of them moved on to BCC. Like for example, the two young ladies you see here are past students of the whole orchestra. They've both gone to BCC and done music. So they've completed the music program, and now the two of them are moving on in November through the Saints Day band onto a ship to work. This is all this from forming a band that actually comes out of Daryll Jordan called the Steel Orchestra. So they're the two senior members from it. So the whole thing I was trying to get at do with these guys, Stockton and them, they went through the BDF process, which is a different process. But it was a different time for me too. I didn't have the support as I wanted then, but when other people see things happening, they tend to want to jump on the bandwagon. But I don't mind that if you can just do what you're supposed to do and assist where you are. We've been fortunate to get some help from our rock cement plant in the past, and we're hoping to do that because as you can see, the equipment is still the equipment that was here from the 80s. So we're trying to work on that aspect. If you can get this new group out now to go out now and do some performances, and let me see if we can garner more respect and more people to understand what's really going on here from this end.
1, 2.
C for 8.
1, 2, 3, and
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. C again.
All right, so Miss Lane, you've not been here very long, but you've been here and you've been able to experience the students and what they have to offer. And as a pan player yourself, where do you see the future for the Steel Orchestra Band?
For Daryll Jordan, I expect to see them in NIFCA hopefully next year. I expect to see them at the Lunchtime concert October 23rd, which is right around the corner in Stockton. I expect to see them at their Independence concert actually for November celebrations. I look forward to being there with them and jamming along them hopefully.
Of course, that's amazing. So, we have to give advice to a new pan player that's now coming onto the program. What would you say to them?
Practice, 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 practice some more. Practice, 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 practice.
So you got it, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about practice. That's how you get better. That's how you become the best.
1, 2, C again. 5, 6, F now. F, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back to C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. G for 4. G, 2, 3, 4. F, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3. Line. Bam, 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 bam. Stop.
Since I've been here, we've done NIFCA a couple times. We've won a silver NIFCA in 2006, if I'm not wrong. This is your colleague, Mr. Miller here.
He will do a fact check. He will do a fact check.
We play red. It's my first time entering NIFCA, trying to understand the dynamics of what NIFCA does for the arts, etc. And we won a silver. It was a fun thing at first. We were just fooling around.
Yeah.
And we decided, hey, let me enter it, and that came out of it. And since then, I've tried to push more groups into NIFCA. We won 2 bronze. Out of that, about 4 years later, when the school changed over to the present uniform, you see the upper 5th wearing. That was also more promotion too, trying to get that name out there. And then from there, when these guys went on, because they were great, you know, they perform everywhere, weddings, ministry events, school events, and they were actually the face of the school, in my opinion, at the time. When they left and went on to do the BDF stints and then their personal lives, I decided to try to use that now and typically develop an art center where we produce musicians who can go on to do that. So giving those students a taste of what I do. I mean, I presently run the Soca Royal Band, and that's a lot. So I try to introduce them to those guys so we can have an interaction and let them know, hey,
give them more
to be a musician at this level, this is what you got to do. So we interact a lot. And the last 2 orchestras that we had really went on to do that. They perform at Pampanisan twice. We do official functions for the Ministry of Education, tourism. We played in the port, during the winter season, which is about to start for us. And so it is just about taking everything I know and giving them the experience and the opportunity to try it for themselves, to see that this is a viable option in terms of money, etc.
We soca demons in here, right? You got, excuse me. Right, cool. You got it. C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. C again. 4, 5, 6. Move to F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back to C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move into G now. G. F. C. Line. Bam, 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 bam. C, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Move to C again. Move into F. Very good. F. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. G. 2, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 1, 2, a C, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Move to F, F, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back to C, 2, 3, 4, 1. Then G now, G, 2, move to F. 2, back to C, 1, 2, lay, and bum, 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 bum.
All right, so the last time I played the instrument was back in 2012 at Alexander Secondary School. So right now I'm here with Mr. Blackman and he's about to give me a lesson on the basics in the steel pan. Get ready.
All right, well, basically, the steel pan is part of what we call the percussion family, which is anything you use a stick or hands to play. So, like any drummer, the steel pan player is a drummer. So the first thing is learning to appreciate how to hold sticks. Now, the stick is just a blunt object by itself until you apply it to the instrument. So, index finger and thumb. Yeah, that's the basic thing. But the object is to get each stick to bounce. And we normally use a wall or a high surface right in front of you so we can get your attention on to detail. Because check out the stick. See if you can hear how many times the stick bounce.
Yeah, about 3 or 4.
5.
Yeah.
Right. So the object of rolling is doing the bounce one after each other until you can get a solid note. On the wooden object, if you can hear it smooth, imagine when you go to the instrument which is tuned. So it's a difference. So first thing first is getting that concept understood, because you'll find most people come to the first time, because that is how we roll. You got 2 things, right? But you got to roll deeper than that. So you got to get the sticks to bounce and move forward. And remember, I ain't a pan player now. I was taught this by students when they first came here. So it was interesting to understand that concept. So let me move on to instrument now and let me talk about it. There's several types of pans, as you can see. There's the lead pan in the front, what we call the tenor pan, single pan, right? Which normally plays the melody of the tune, for lack of a better word. To the left of that is the double guitar, as you were double seconds. They can do what we call the strumming, but they also play melody as well, right? The double guitar, which is slightly bigger, it gives a different song in terms of timbre. They're also responsible for the strumming and being the main chords in the band. All right, my knowledge. And 6 bass behind here. Right, so there are six instruments in this one grouping, which play the bottom end of what, if you got a choir, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, you probably go soprano, alto, tenor, bass. So when you put them together, it can do the same thing, or should be able to mimic a mirror orchestra or any ensemble. There are lots of other instruments that orchestras will have. There are 3 cellos, quadrophones, but we are limited to this stuff at this point. So each stick has its unique thing. So the bigger the instrument, the bigger the end. But anyway, we on here to see who play something. So as I'm going to put you, you're a big dude. So you can come in the middle of the instrument. So you with any double instrument, you stand in the center and you try to get the sticks to move. So you, So
you go also.
Hold tight. So I understand. Got enough notes in here. Just trying to understand and put them together. Something you can't see. But normally you want to have them written in, right? So when you get to that level, you will know the instrument.
Advanced level, you know exactly where it is.
Right. So what we try to do, we start basic on some a scale, what you would call do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, which most songs are made up of. So you start here at C. So let me see where you will put those things. It's so interesting, the stick feels in your left hand, trying to get this bounce on. So you're trying to bounce one stick after each other. So when it comes together, you get a song. There's normally a sweet spot in the note itself, but as you get better, you will find that spot, right? But you could try it at this point, playing C for me. Man got the lean and everything, right? But there's enough lean though, because you should really take your sticks to the. Let me demonstrate a minute. So you here, big boy. I'll do this. Yeah, you're trying, right? So that you don't, unless we're doing choreography or something, right? Right, cool. Well, so you can try C. See, look, you still come in the center.
Right here?
Yeah, you're in the center, be in the center. So I can ask you a stupid question, what's come after C in the alphabet?
D.
Right. Hopefully D will be here.
Alright, so D's here?
Yes, please. So this is how we start students now. So timing is everything in the unit. You gotta learn to play together. So what I'm gonna do for you now, we can try a little timing exercise. I'm gonna ask you to play C for 8 beats, and then followed immediately by D for 8 beats. I will count to 4 to start you off. The time that I count, you try to keep. Start each new note on 1.
Okay, cool.
All right, so let's begin. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, this is keeping that 8, right?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
cool. Let's go.
All right, lovely. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a quick one all the way over there now. And F at the top.
F.
Very good. So you see the difficulty. We have the first 3 here. So this means knowing the instrument after a while. So you have to practice it. So what we as teachers will call drill and practice, but then drill and practice must turn into affirmation. Affirmation must turn into a fruitful exercise.
Amazing,
right.
amazing.
So cool. Oh, that's about it. So I mean, it's about how much time you have to.
Yeah. And I realize that you also mentioned something to the students that to make sure they continue to come even outside.
Yeah, because it's like
rehearsal.
riding a bicycle. You get one day, you don't learn to ride a bicycle one day. Train the wheels one time, then your brother holding you, and then your brother holding you, and then you go, then you hear your brother voice like the hill, race, shoot it right in, and then bam, you fall over there, you go come again. So it's about constant
Consistency,
practice.
yeah.
But as a musician or anything like that requires this type of attention detail, you got to put in the time. Right? That's why I would say this now. As a cultural practitioner, most people don't see the time and energy that goes in just to play one song. We could practice for 3 hours just to learn one song. There's a learning curve involved. But you will go there so now and say, oh, you want you to play this here so for me? Just do it for free. This time ain't free. This energy ain't free. They need to appreciate that cultural practitioners are people with jobs
craft.
and it's their craft. So that's my biggest thing right now.
I
In Barbados,
completely.
I will use this example. Sir, I have a bar. Come and play for me. You could do it for free. I will tell him, well, I got a party. You could bring your beer and drinks. So you just do it for free. No, boy, I can't, right? Okay, then. So that's
the
all
same
there.
principle.
Yes, please.
Well, thank you so much for
You
listening.
ain't bad though. You can
Yeah.
actually play instrument.
I am. I come and rock out one of these days, man.
Literally rock out, hold 2 rocks and rock out. All right, just kidding. Sorry. Nah, that was good actually. That was actually
Yeah, so
decent.
thank you so much for the lesson, sir. It was amazing being here and spending some time with the Steel
All right,
Orchestra.
thank you. You're welcome.
Out of that, this year now we have a band called Phoenix Steel, which comes out of Daryll Secondary School, and their 2 main players now are moving on to work on the cruise ship. So if that experience worked good for them, we just encourage the others to follow suit. Where this is not where when I was growing up, oh, music is a hobby, you can't get out of music.
The possibilities
etc.
are endless right now.
And the present world, Barbados is just not the only place. You can export your talent and work anywhere. And for me, giving them the underdog, the opportunity to move from that status to a status of standing on your own and believing in your craft and pushing forward. That's what this orchestra was focusing on, and that's what it's about. And it will continue even when I leave. Somebody is gonna hopefully take that
Pick it
mantle
up
and
and
move
run with
forward.
it.
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Blackman, I found that as a young actor when I was just coming into the world. My acting and my helping me to express myself gave me confidence. So for you, on the topic of confidence, how do you feel the students are affected by entering the Steel Orchestra? How do you feel it affects their confidence?
Stepping through the door first thing can be daunting because you're coming into a new environment with new people. However, the gratification of going through drill and practice and learning and then putting your part to the whole concept of what is the orchestra, I find students, when they get it and the rest congratulate them, they're like, hey man, that's a good job, thanks. That really boosts their confidence. I have a young man in there right now when I first met him who did not talk. He came in the orchestra, he did what he's supposed to do, sitting every day.
Very quiet.
He got the opportunity to play with the combined orchestra this year, which is the secondary schools combined to play at Pampanisan this year. And that was his first time interacting with students of his age group. And obviously, it's not just St. Lucy's, so you have Harrison College, Cornwall, etc. That opened up so much for him. He actually speaks now and is one of my section leaders right now. He does what he's supposed to do. But to me, to see him move from the little boy to the young man, was very rewarding. That happens all the time in this unit, where those folks come in shy, come in not knowing, but then they develop, because we try to give them responsibility in the unit. Got section leaders, captains, rehearsals, today is your day, somebody collecting subs, and that for me, fosters confidence, and we try to, for sure, must give them responsibility. You don't want to have that identity crisis or identity confusion, like I do something but I ain't worth nothing to me. Everybody has their position. You must find what makes them tick and try to apply it and get them to stand on their own feet, for lack of a better word.
Of course, excellent. So, Mr. Blackman, another thing that we often encounter in children and even adults, we lose motivation, right? We oftentimes, maybe because we're maybe not be hitting the right note, or we may feel like if we're not coming along as fast as our other peers. What is your advice for the young student that's losing motivation and just needs that pickup to keep going?
Well, music and life are similar, you know, they sort of mirror each other, and we will have ups and we have downs. If this is something that you're really interested in, don't take the down as the final end and everything. You can only come from the bottom up. So if we as a culture, how can I say it? If we cultivate the attitude of not yet being competent versus we're not bad or not wrong. So I ain't good at it yet, but okay, do some more practice and let's get better at it. It can work for motivation practices, but we have to foster that. We tend to cry down people when they do bad or are not as good as us, and we need to change the attitude into, you know what, you aren't good at it yet, so let me try it again. Let's see you get better at it. If you're better 1 second after than you were before, that's good enough for me.
It's progress.
For me, that's success for me. Where you've done something that you couldn't do before the next day or day after. And then you mark yourself for there and keep stepping up and stepping up. But you must allow them want to be themselves first. Because we tend to want to say, man, I ain't good at this, it's just play music, ain't nothing. I can't understand that. So to build motivation, it requires a holistic change to everybody. We got to see ourselves as people moving forward. Right? And that everything has value. Everyone has value. And if you can value everyone, including yourself, then you can help and motivate someone instead of crying them down. But the music itself, man, you have to motivate each other. We're a team, and the team is the strongest, its weakest link. So we don't leave nobody behind. So that's basically
That's an amazing model to carry forward. All right, so Mr. Blackman, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me and taking the time to sit down and have this interview. We learned so much today about the Steel Orchestra Band and the whole motive behind it and everything that your blood, sweat and tears that you put into it. So we just want to give you thanks again and thank you for what you're doing for the young folks, and we hope that you continue to flourish and that everything continues to soar here at Daryll Jordan Secondary School.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thanks.
Let's get away from here, where the water's clear and the sun sets in.